I'm kind of feeling this like panic in the second half. It's like there's all of these things that need to get done. It's kind of like in the first half, but in a different way. In the first half, there were all these things that I always had to do, raising a family, raising kids, hustle and grinding at the job, all of these things that kind of owned my life, that defined my life and created it for me. Taking care of family, children, creating holiday magic. That was a lot of work. Shuffling people around, making sure that their life was as perfect as we could create it. And so everything was kind of focused and centered around a group as a whole, whether it's you and your children, you and your husband and your children, your work life, whatever. You were part of a group. And it was a good thing. It was a beautiful thing. In many ways, it was the best part of my life. And if I could go back, I absolutely would. That's how good it was. Now I feel like I'm in almost a panic, but for different reasons. Because in this part, in the second half of life, I feel like you don't have all of those obligations anymore. You don't have all of those people relying on you for their everyday well-being. Now it's just you, and you get to define how you want to spend your time, how you want to live your days. It's all about you. In the first half, it's all about everyone else and holding them up and creating their world. As parents, our needs, wants, desires, all those things, they just kind of get lost in the shuffle because there are things that are more important. There are other people, our children, our bosses, all of those things that we're trying to conform to. Somehow, during all of that, our individuality gets lost. Sure, there's lots of times during that period in my life where a lot of my own individuality was able to squeak by. I went back to school during that time. I used to garden. That was my escape when I could, when the babies weren't crying and I didn't have to run back in. I obsessively baked and cleaned. I even used to sew these adorable dresses for my girls made out of vintage linens. And that was one of the ways that I was able to tap into my creativity and do something that I really loved. Of course, I was always trying to break free to do those things. I was always trying to fit them in. They weren't part of my responsibility, so they came last. They were second fiddle for sure. Now it's different. In the second half, our lives are not built around that hub anymore. We're kind of sitting here like I am right now. Just solo. It's just me. Maybe you have a spouse, but we're not as obligated as we used to be to take care of so many different things. That part of my life was good. It was really good. I have no regrets. But here I am in a new season. As good as it was, there's something about being suppressed all of those years of our life, kind of push down our needs, the things we desire, take second place to other things that we have to do, to other things that in ways we want to do. Well, we did want to do them in that season, but our individuality is set aside. Now, in this season, there is nobody pulling at our shirt tails. There is no one trying to steer us in a different direction. And in some ways, that makes us feel a little lost because we're used to that. We've been doing that all of our adult lives. It's almost like we don't know how to live without it. And I see this a lot in people around me in this age category where they kind of get stuck. They don't know who they are without that system in place, that system of obligations, that system that consumed everything about us, so much about us that we lost who we are. But now the path forward is ours. It is ours to design. There's nobody trying to get us to go right or left. We get to decide which direction we go. And that is a beautiful thing too. Sure, we still have some obligations. I'm still working. You know, there's still some family obligations. It's not like they go away entirely, but for the most part, our time is now ours. That's a really hard thing to absorb. I know it is for me. I don't even really know how to live that way. I'm kind of learning. I'm kind of starting from scratch. I had my first child when I was 19, and my last child didn't turn 18 until 2 years ago. So my whole life has been centered around other people and what they need and, taking care of them and building them up and raising them up and creating their dreams. Well, it's different now. Once I accepted this and really started reflecting on it, I started feeling this sense of almost panic because it crept up on me. That was my whole life. And when my youngest turned 18 and graduated from high school, and now everyone's getting ready to move out, I'm faced with the fact that from this day forward, I am unobligated in so many ways. So it's just a different experience, and I'm trying to get a hold of it. But what has started happening is I'm noticing that all of these things in my life that meant something to me, that I pushed down. No one forced me to do any of these things. And like I said, it was good. It was not bad. But in order to accomplish everything that I accomplished, I had to suppress things in myself. And all of those things are starting to resurface. And I'm starting to see the world out there. I did a video recently, and I talked about, there was a snippet in it, and I talked about when I lost one of my jobs after 7 years, and I walked out of the building, and I did not feel dread or fear at all. Yet everyone else was telling me, this is awful, I'm so sorry and everything. But in my mind, it didn't feel that way. And when I walked out that door, it was just like all of the confinement was gone. And I looked out, I looked out into the world. I looked up at the sky, honestly. I remember the moment very vividly. And I realized there's this whole world at my feet. Like, I could do anything I wanted at that point. So this is kind of like that. All of a sudden, that door shut behind me, and I'm walking out into the world a different person, but with all of those constraints gone. And I'm looking out and I'm seeing this whole world, looking out my window. And there's this world out there. And I am able to do anything that I want now. And I was never able to do that before in the past. So this is a good thing too. It's not the end. It doesn't come to an end when that first chapter's over, because this chapter is a new beginning for us to explore ourselves as individuals. It's kind of a spiritual thing. It's like looking deep inside of us and remembering who we are, or exploring and finding out who we are. Maybe we didn't even know because we were so drowned in that system that comes with the first half. So now I'm feeling this panic, you know? It's like, I guess it's like being at a buffet, a smorgasbord, when you haven't eaten in a long time, you know? You're just dishing everything up on your dish and you just want to frantically eat everything and take a bite of everything. Everything looks so good. Well, that's kind of where I'm at. I have all these things I want to get done. I've started. Some of them are just built around creativity, creating my notebooks, which I love doing. It's something really fun for me. I'm starting to write. I did finish my book. I talked about that, but I want to create another one that talks about my journey with losing my child. And so I have the freedom to do that. Another thing I want to do is finish getting like all of those legacy type things and memory things for my children. Like I feel this panic. Ooh, maybe that's not good. Maybe it's like nesting. Maybe I'm planning for something. But like the end, that's what I was thinking. But no, we're not even going to go there. But I feel this panic to like get all the memory stuff, all the photos, everything kind of compiled to make sense for them so it's easy. So they have the memory of our lives together, you know? And so I've created all of these photo albums of the different years of our lives and put the holidays in them, the birthdays, the vacations, everything into that year. So each photo album is like a year. And then I realized, well, they're not really into photo albums. Like they're pretty minimalistic in their generation. So I started compiling them digitally. And that way I can give them each like a flash drive or whatever so that they can have them. But it's so much work. But I feel this intense desire, this panic again, to get it done, you know, because I was so busy with other things in that first half that I'm making up for lost time. And I don't know how much time I have left. Life on the ruler. Then there's this whole downsizing thing like we've talked about. Well, that's kind of about freedom too. Freedom in the second half. Even though I've expressed mourning for it, which I do. I definitely do. I mourn for it, but I look forward to those constraints being gone too and having more freedom. You know, a lot of you guys expressed the way it amplified your life, and letting it go created a whole new world for you. And I'm looking forward to that. But there's the panic in getting that all ready too. It's just another path to freedom. And I also feel like there's this new training that has to take place, you know, in my body and in my mind, that it's okay to slow down. Like, there's a panic to get that right and to like get enough time under my belt so that I can sit down and relax. And I forget that I can just sit down and relax. That obligation trail that followed me around for so many years is not there. Like this morning, for the first time, like I don't watch TV. I really don't. Almost Almost never. Like last weekend, I watched a movie for the first time in probably 6 months. And this morning I woke up a little early, and I really wanted to do this video, but I told myself, you know, it's okay. You can go sit down and watch a movie. Well, I have a TV in my room and a little sofa. And so I just sat there for 2 hours and watched a movie. And it was okay. It was okay because I get to design my days, my freedom now. Any freedom I have, I get to choose how I'm going to use it. So here's the thing. Not only are you able to make those choices, you're able to make them from a different perspective. You're older, so that means you have a lot of life experience behind you. There's a lot of wisdom that comes with that. So the choices you make now are going to be so entirely different than the ones you would have made back then, should you have had the time you have now. So it can be really, really good if we let it be, right? You can reinvent yourself. You can be an entirely different person because you're not trying to conform to some mold that shapes you into something acceptable for that period in your life. You know, as a mom, we're not going to show up in a mini skirt to the school function, but you know what? You can be anything you want to be now. You can reinvent yourself. You can change your hair. You can change your clothing style. You can glam up. You can work on fitness. You can work on yourself internally. Maybe work on your gratefulness, kindness, maybe happiness, you know, all that self-growth. Anything you want. You can entirely reinvent yourself, and it's okay. You can do the things you love. Maybe it's writing or painting or working on old cars, gardening, baking until all hours of the night, trying new things because you don't have to worry about if somebody else likes it. You can sew. You can go to different functions and join groups. Just all of that stuff. Whatever it is you like. Slow living. Sit there and read a book with a candle on. We talked about ambience and how that can change your world. And you could just absorb that and soak in it without having to worry about popping up and fulfilling another obligation. So you get to do the things you love. You get to surround yourself with the things you desire. You also can accomplish some of those things that you never were able to accomplish in the earlier years of your life, in the first half. Maybe you did want to write a book or finish one that you had already started. Maybe you wanted to start your own business, like cottage type business, you know, and sell the things that you knit and sew or bake, or sell your flowers from your garden. Maybe you wanted to do something like that. Maybe you wanted to volunteer somewhere and you never got a chance to do that. Maybe you wanted to take that job that you've always wanted, but it didn't pay enough, and so you were never able to do it. Well, I have a friend. It's so funny because she's had these big executive jobs, but she's always wanted to be a waitress. I don't know why. I mean, a server, whatever. She's always wanted to work like at a little cafe and be a server, but she was never able to because her jobs paid so well. Well, now in the second half, dreams like that can come true. You can just do whatever, and maybe you only work a few hours. Maybe you join some clubs. All of that is up to you. You get to blossom in whatever way you want, whatever way you desire. I have so many things I want to do. And like I said, I almost feel a panic to do them, because it's like making up for lost time, you know? I mean, I'm sure there were things you wanted to do that you didn't do in your first half. So now, maybe there's not as many years in front of us as we desire, but that's okay. Like I said, it's more condensed because we're smarter and we have wisdom and we will do it differently. We're good at that, right? We're good at multitasking. We're good at making things happen. We're good at creating things because we've been doing it our whole lives for other people. But now it's your time. I love this. I really do. We do give things up. And I talked about that in other videos, you know, the downsizing and all the things that we have to give up at this age. There's a lot of it, but that's looking at this season in our life through a different lens. That's looking at it through the lens of loss, and all those are real. All those are so real. But instead of doing that, we can also look at the gains that we get. And you guys have taught me a lot of that by just reading all of your input from your posts. And my gosh, you have the most creative, positive ways of looking at things, and I just love it. And this is something that's happening inside of me internally, and I wanted to share it because I do talk about all those negative things. We have to talk about them. We have to talk about all of it because we're rounded people, right? We're not just one or the other. We're all encompassing. And sad things happen and happy things happen. A positive lens, a negative lens. You know, all of this is part of our journey and our life process. And I just want to encourage you to take this season and think of it a little differently. Think of it as, yeah, you are making up for lost time. And that's okay because that's what we can do in this season. We're lucky to have it. It's a respite, right? We think of retiring as a respite, but for parents, for just life in general, the second half is a respite. You know, the second half is time for our growth. I think so many people think of it as the end, but I'm thinking of it as the beginning. I don't know what I'm going to do with it all, but I'm here on YouTube. I'm doing this and I'm loving it. I make my little silly notebooks. I don't sell many. I only make $3 when I sell them, but I love them and it's fun. And I'm starting to write again, which I love. And that's just kind of part of me spiritually. So this is good, right? The first half was good. Super, super good. It was great. Some bad things happened. But all in all, it was a good part of our lives, but it wasn't all of our lives. So what are you going to do? I want to hear. Just tell me one thing that you're going to do that is positive and moving you forward in the second half. You know, I just love you guys and I love your positivity. And I learned from you too. I think we all learn from each other. So I love that encouraging part of having this channel. And I want us to encourage each other to grow and move forward in the second half, to not get stuck thinking about the past. Let's think about the future and what we want to do with it. So that's it. All right, start planning, take your notes. What are you gonna do?